Here is a detailed summary and analysis of Rework by Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson, expanding upon the personal narrative provided to reach the requested length. Rework, a manifesto for the modern, pragmatic entrepreneur. Introduction, the liberation of a simpler gospel. The personal anecdote provided is not merely an introduction, it is the quintessential case study for the transformative power of Rework. It encapsulates the journey of a potential entrepreneur from paralysis by analysis to liberation through action. The 40-page monument to complexity is a symbol of the old world of business, a world governed by fear, speculation, and an obsessive adherence to outdated, corporate-style rituals. The small, orange book is the key to a new world, one built on action, clarity, and a profound respect for one's own time and sanity. Rework, written by Basecamp founders Jason Fried and David Heinemeier Hansson, DHH, is indeed less a business book and more a manifesto. It is a polemic against the ingrained, often unquestioned, doctrines of the startup and corporate worlds. It doesn't just suggest alternative strategies, it actively dismantles the idols of conventional business wisdom with a sledgehammer, not out of nihilism, but to clear the debris for a sturdier, simpler, and more human structure to be built. This summary will delve deep into the philosophy, principles, and practical advice contained within Rework, exploring its critique of the status quo and its blueprint for a better way to work. Part 1, the diagnosis, deconstructing the mythology of work. Before prescribing a new way, Rework first performs a thorough diagnosis of the sickness plaguing modern business culture. The authors argue that much of what is considered normal or necessary is, in fact, counterproductive theater. 1. The fetishization of the hustle and the 80-hour workweek. The gospel of the grind posits that success is directly proportional to hours spent working. Burnout is worn as a badge of honor, a testament to one's dedication. Fried and Hansson vehemently disagree. They argue that marathon work sessions are not a sign of dedication but of poor planning and a lack of focus. Exhaustion is not a badge of honor, it's a mark of stupidity. When you are tired, your work suffers. You make bad decisions, you write worse code, you design poorer experiences, and you become irritable and difficult to work with. The goal shouldn't be to work more, it should be to work better. Sustained, high-quality work for 40 hours a week is infinitely more valuable than 80 hours of depleted, low-quality effort. Rework champions a culture of rest, arguing that a well-rested, clear-headed mind is your most valuable business asset. 2. The illusion of detailed, long-term planning. Planning is guessing. This is one of the book's most iconic and liberating assertions. Traditional business plans, especially those with detailed 5-year financial projections, are works of fiction. They are based on a cascade of assumptions about markets, customer behavior, competitors, and the global economy, all of which are guaranteed to change. The time spent crafting these elaborate documents is time not spent building, selling, or talking to customers. The plan becomes a relic, a source of anxiety, and a constraint that forces you to follow a path that reality has already proven wrong. As your friend noted, this was heresy to the orthodox business mind, which believes that without a detailed plan, you are doomed to wander aimlessly. Rework argues the opposite. A rigid plan blinds you to the better opportunities that inevitably appear once you start doing the real work. 3. The poison of ASAP and permanent urgency. The corporate world runs on artificial urgency. Every email is flagged high importance, every request is needed ASAP, and every project is a top priority. This culture of constant emergency creates a reactive, frantic environment where nothing actually important gets done because everyone is too busy putting out fires, most of which they started themselves by poor communication and planning. This ASAP addiction poisons a culture. It stresses everyone out, kills creativity, which requires calm and contemplation, and leads to shoddy work done just to meet an arbitrary, self-imposed deadline. Rework advocates for a calmer, more deliberate pace. Most things are not emergencies. Real priorities are few. By refusing to buy into the ASAP culture, you protect your team's time and mental space for the work that truly matters. 4. The dysfunction of meetings. Meetings are, as the book states, toxic. They are typically structured as gatherings where ideas go to die. They are often too long, include too many people, and lack a clear purpose or agenda. They are expensive, calculate the combined hourly rate of everyone in the room, and they are productivity black holes, breaking up a workday into fragments too small to accomplish any deep, meaningful work. Meetings are often used as a crutch for poor writing and unclear thinking. If an idea can't be summarized in a written document, it's not clear enough to be discussed. Rework suggests that most meetings are simply a way to delay real work and create the illusion of progress. 5. The handicap of massive funding. The Silicon Valley narrative glorifies the venture capital fueled rocket ship, get a big idea, raise millions, burn through it on customer acquisition and scaling, and either explode into an IPO or explode into oblivion. Fried and Hansen, who built Basecamp, then 37 Signals, into a massively profitable company without any outside funding, see this as a handicap. Raising money means selling a piece of your company and, more importantly, your freedom. You now have a new boss, investors. Your goals shift from building a sustainable, great business that serves your life to chasing hyper-growth to provide a return on their investment. This pressure leads to bad decisions, a focus on vanity metrics over real profit, and often, the demise of the company. The market, they say, that pays in real dollars, from customers, is the best judge of your business. Profit is the ultimate validation, not a valuation on a pitch deck. 6. The obsession with competitors. Many businesses spend an inordinate amount of time obsessively watching their competitors. They dissect every feature, every marketing campaign, and every pricing change. This leads to a "me too" mentality, where you are constantly reacting and playing catch-up, never leading. You become a copy of a copy, blurry and devoid of originality. Your focus is external, on what others are doing, rather than internal, on what you can do uniquely well for your customers. 7. The glorification of pivoting. While flexibility is important, the modern startup cult has turned pivoting into a virtue. It's often used as a euphemism for, our initial idea was bad because we didn't validate it with real customers, and now we are desperately swinging to something else. Constant pivoting is a sign that you are building in a vacuum, guided by guesses rather than customer feedback. Rework advocates for a more stable core, build what you love and what serves a real need, and make iterative improvements based on feedback. Drastic, frequent pivots are disruptive, exhausting, and confuse your team and your market. Part 2. The prescription, the rework philosophy in practice. For every myth it dismantles, rework offers a simpler, more effective, and more humane alternative. Its philosophy is built on a foundation of embracing constraints, limited time, limited money, and a small team. These are not limitations to be overcome, they are advantages to be leveraged. They force creativity, clarity, and immediacy. 1. Embrace constraints. Your secret weapon. Scarcity is a gift. A small budget forces you to be clever with marketing instead of just buying ads. A short timeline forces you to focus on the essential features instead of gold-plating everything. A small team forces you to communicate clearly and avoid bureaucracy. Constraints breed innovation. When you can't throw money or people at a problem, you have to actually solve it with a smarter, simpler solution. This is the core of the rework ethos. Don't wish for more resources, use the ones you have more intelligently. 2. Start a business, not a startup. The word startup has come to imply something temporary, a pre-company that is in a state of becoming until it exits or fails. Rework encourages you to think like you are building a real, sustainable business from day one. A business makes more money than it spends. A business serves its customers. A business provides a good life for its owners and employees. Focus on profitability from the beginning. It's not something to plan for later, it's the oxygen that keeps the business alive. This mindset changes every decision you make, grounding it in reality rather than fantasy. 3. Ignore the real world. The real world is a phrase people use to shoot down great ideas. That'll never work in the real world. But the real world is not a fixed set of rules, it's just what everyone else is already doing. Most great ideas seem crazy at first. Ignoring the real world means dismissing naysayers who are invested in the status quo. It means having the confidence to believe that your new, simpler, better way might just become the new real world. 4. The power of no. Progress comes from saying no to more things than you say yes to. No is easier to do than yes. No protects your time, your focus, and your company's mission. Yes leads to distraction, bloat, and mediocrity. Every time you say yes to a mediocre feature request, a distracting partnership, or a time-consuming opportunity, you are saying no to your core product and your best customers. Be a curator of your own workload. A proud, well-defined no is a sign of a healthy, focused organization. 5. Underdo the competition. You don't need to match your competitors feature for feature. In fact, you shouldn't. Instead, focus on doing the few things you do exceptionally well. Underdoing means stripping away the complexity and bloat that accumulate in products over time. It means offering a simpler, more elegant, more intuitive solution. Most customers don't want a Swiss Army knife with 100 tools, they want a single, perfect tool that does one job beautifully. By focusing on simplicity and core value, you can outsell and outplease competitors who are bogged down by their own feature lists. 6. Build an audience, not a market. Traditional marketing is often about shouting your message at a faceless crowd, a market. Rework advocates for a different approach, slowly and consistently building an audience. Teach people. Share your knowledge freely through blogging, podcasting, or creating helpful content. By giving away valuable information, you build trust, credibility, and a group of people who are genuinely interested in what you have to say. When you eventually have a product to sell, you're not selling to strangers, you are informing and offering a solution to your audience. This is a slower, but far more sustainable and effective path to growth. 7. Launch now. This is the ultimate antidote to paralysis by analysis. Your product or service will never be perfect. There will always be one more feature to add or one more bug to fix. But you only truly learn what works by putting your product in the hands of real customers. Launch now means getting a simple, functional version out there as soon as possible. The feedback you get from real-world use is infinitely more valuable than months of internal speculation and planning. A launched product, no matter how minimal, is a real thing that can be improved. A perfect product in a plan is just a fantasy. Part 3. Operationalizing, Rework, Building, Marketing, and Growing. The philosophy of Rework translates into concrete practices across all aspects of a business. On productivity and work culture. Interruption is the enemy of productivity. Creative work requires long, uninterrupted stretches of time. Protect your team's time by eliminating unnecessary meetings, turning off notifications, and creating a culture of asynchronous communication, like using email or team message boards, instead of immediate, disruptive conversations. Go alone at first. You don't need a full team to start. Do everything yourself at the beginning. This gives you a hands-on understanding of every part of your business: sales, support, marketing, product development. This knowledge is invaluable and impossible to get if you outsource a hire for everything immediately. Build momentum with small wins. Don't try to boil the ocean. Break big projects into tiny, achievable tasks. Finishing small things creates momentum and a sense of progress, which is far more motivating than staring at a monolithic, months-long project. On hiring and scaling. Hire when it hurts. Don't hire for a vague future need or because you got funding. Hire only when there's a clear, present pain that a new person can solve. You can't afford dead weight, and a small, stellar team is always better than a large, mediocre one. Hire great writers. Clear writing is a sign of clear thinking. Whether they're in marketing, support, or engineering, someone who can communicate complex ideas simply is an immense asset. Resumes are ridiculous. Don't overvalue resumes and past job titles. Look for passion, curiosity, and a portfolio of work, whatever that means for the role. Passionate learners will outperform pedigreed experts who have stopped trying. On product development. Half, not half-assed. When building a product, cut your feature set in half. Then, do it again. Build the absolute essential core and make it amazing. It's better to have a product that is half-finished but excellent at what it does than one that is 100% complete and mediocre at everything. Solve your own problems. The best ideas come from personal frustration. If you are solving a problem you genuinely have, you'll understand the customer's pain points intimately, and you'll be building something you care about. Your passion will be your best marketing. Ignore details early on. In the early stages, don't waste time on fine details like perfect logos or office space. All that energy should be poured into the product and the customers. The details can be polished later. On marketing. Marketing is not a department. Everyone in the company is in marketing. The way you answer the phone, the design of your product, the text on your error messages, it all contributes to the public's perception of your brand. Teach everything you know. This is the cornerstone of their marketing strategy. By sharing your expertise freely, you build authority and attract people who are interested in your domain. The book itself, and the author's prolific blogging, are prime examples of the strategy in action. Press releases are spam. Instead of blasting out generic press releases, build genuine relationships with a handful of reporters who cover your industry. Give them exclusive insights or stories, not announcements. Part 4. The Liberation of Permission, the ultimate takeaway. The personal story that opened this summary ends with the most important outcome of engaging with Rework: it provides permission. The world of business is filled with noise, experts, gurus, magazines, and peers all prescribing the right way to do things. This noise creates a paralyzing fear of doing it wrong. Rework gives you permission to ignore the noise, to dismiss the shoulds and musts of conventional wisdom. Permission to start simple, to begin with a list titled, What Needs to Be True for Us to Start Tomorrow. Instead of a 40-page business plan. Permission to be profitable, to value sustainability and a good life over hyper-growth and a mythical exit. Permission to build what you love, to trust your own instincts and solve problems you care about deeply. Permission to have a life, to reject the hustle culture and believe that a great business can be built on a 40-hour workweek, leaving ample time for family, hobbies, and rest. Permission to say no, to protect your time, your focus, and your company's mission from the endless parade of distractions. Conclusion: the enduring relevance of a modern classic. Rework was published in 2010, but its message is more relevant than ever. In a world increasingly defined by burnout, bloated software, and the frantic performance of busyness, its call for calm, clarity, and simplicity is a vital antidote. It is not a book of hard, fast rules. It is a book of principles. It is an argument, as your friend rightly said, designed to provoke thought and challenge deeply held assumptions. Its greatest gift is the emancipation of the entrepreneur from the shackles of complexity. It proves that you don't need a fortune, a massive team, or a perfect plan to build a meaningful, successful business. You just need a simple idea, a focus on providing real value, and the courage to start now. The 40-page business plan is a tombstone. The new document titled, What Needs to Be True for Us to Start Tomorrow, is a birth certificate. Rework is the argument that empowers you to choose the latter. Thanks for watching, thanks for your time.